Okay, so we finished a game of Engage. And I won only because we had a tie. Neither one of us controlled any of the bunkers that you needed to. That was the victory condition, to have control of 4 bunkers. Well, the game ended, and none of us did, so it's a tie. So the tiebreaker went to who had the most bunkers, which again we tied at 0, and the second was at who had the most skill. I had 5, and she had 1. So I ended up winning. So what did you think of it, this game?
I hated it.
She hated this from the from setup on. She hated this game.
There was too many things to have to remember. I never knew what these did. I kept
The
losing
cubes?
skills. No,
The engage advantage?
the engage advantage. I couldn't track who shot what. I had a bunker, and then, oh wait, except for now he gets to blow the mess out of me, even though it's my turn, and I had the bunker. And
Each turn there's an attacker phase and a defender phase. So what she's talking about is that she was the attacker, but then the defender gets to fire back, and she would lose sometimes.
no, you got to fire first.
Yeah, depending on the there's a term.
I had the red cube, so
there's
I
a
was
fire
able
sequence
to go into the bunker first.
right here.
But oh wait, now he got to attack the living mess out of me, and I had no skill left, and ended up down with
There's an
one.
attacker cover fire, and sometimes because of the way that you issue orders, you may not have an attacker cover phase, so it goes directly to the defender suppression fire, and that's what she's talking about. That sometimes, even though she's the attacker, the defender got to fire first. She didn't like that.
and I hate that on any game.
I was playing the Americans. I've got my Sherman tanks right here. See, that's my Sherman tanks.
I was playing Germany,
She was the Germans,
which
so she had the
already put me
Panzers
in a negative zone to begin with,
and these cool little.
even though that was like.
Get that in there. There we go. The Panzerfaust.
And I have these little rocket launcher things.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
And I moved a tank that I was never able to use. Apparently, I still don't understand that whole concept. I never even got to use my big honking tiger.
Yep.
He shot at nobody because if I would
tiger?
have moved him, then apparently I couldn't have used him.
Okay. That's a tiger. I thought maybe you had your elephant in the
No, I didn't use the elephant
tank.
because it can't do diagonal fire, and it doesn't have hardly any defense. And so I didn't choose that. I don't think I picked the best weapons, and I don't think the setup was that great, and I don't know how to make the setup any better. Even after playing a round of it, I still am pretty clueless at how I could do better next time. And that's the frustrating thing, is like I can't say, oh, I did this wrong, next time I can improve on this. Or, oh, I can set it up different this way. Or maybe I should have gotten more artillery and less tanks. No, all I know is don't move your tank unless you've got orders to fire. Because otherwise you're wasting a turn just to move. And, oh yeah, once you move them and you fire, then you can't use them again unless you move all 3 of them out of support.
Correct.
So, too much accepts. And you got to remembers and too many little ticky things. The thing is I started out with 17 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I only lost 3.
Right.
Um,
I destroyed
he
3
has
of hers,
he has less on the board than I do, and yet
and
he
she
won.
destroyed
Which
4 of mine.
Doesn't it that's like Memoir 44 when I won, and I never did take the bridge.
Well, the objective was to take the bunkers.
We didn't.
So it
though.
didn't
We
matter
did,
how many we lost.
We did not even take the bunkers. So
That's what we were
if
trying
that
to
is
do,
what
not
the
just
premise
destroy
of the
everybody.
game is, then it shouldn't end until you at least have control of a bunker. If nobody has control of the bunker, you need to play a few more until.
Would you have liked
everybody's
to
knocked
play
off.
8 more turns of this?
God, no.
Yeah. So that gave us a way to finish the game.
And get me out
quicker.
of my misery.
Yeah. All right. Engage. I didn't mind it. Playing it one time wasn't enough for me to figure everything out. The strategies, I was figuring it out as I went, but I would have had to play this a few more times.
Maybe I'll play it a few more times when I have a better attitude.
No, you won't. I'll play this with someone else. You could play this with we had the Germans. She picked the Germans. I chose the Americans. You can play this with the Italians, the British.
Well, that's even worse. Maybe I'll play against the British. Next
the
time.
Russians.
We'll do
the Japanese. You can play with different armies, and they're all different, as you can see. The Americans have these Shermans, and I believe that's a Hellcat tank, and this right here is a Pershing, and she.
This is the
look
elephant.
at the nice elephant.
That doesn't turn. It's kind of a pointless.
Yeah, it's not. The cannon is not on a turret, so it can only fire straight ahead.
Whereas
That's
the
huge.
Tiger, it can turn. It is your strongest unit. It has a front defense of 12, and it has a strength of 12. Whereas the elephant only has a defense of 6, but has a strength of 12. But you can only fire straight ahead. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
The Americans have an anti-tank gun right here.
He never used it.
I never did, but the Germans, they have their anti-tank
rocket
gun
thing.
is their Panzerfaust. So all of these units are accurate as far as the way they looked for those particular armies. Every army has different looking units, so that's pretty neat.
I think next time I would have. You have to have the whatever these are, the rifles in order to take the bunker.
Right. Tanks can't take bunkers.
And you
only
need
the infantry
enough of
can.
those because that's who's going to get killed right away.
Destroy enough of their infantry and they won't be able to take the bunkers.
Right.
Yep.
But you still need more tanks to actually destroy the other side in order to take the bunker. And now that I'm talking through it, I'm coming up with better strategies for next time. You can only put, when you start, infantry on zone B, and the tanks have to be in zone C. But if you have infantry in the same area as your tank, then you get their defense.
Mm-hmm.
So it would almost behoove you to put your infantry in the same spot with your tanks and put them all in zone C and very few in zone B. So you can move forward with your tanks, defeat as many of the opponent's infantry first, and then move in with your infantry to take the bunkers. I think that might be a good battle plan. And don't use Germans.
Don't use the Germans.
Don't use the
As if they
Germans.
were the Italians or something.
I'm gonna say I wouldn't use the Italians either, because yeah, we could have a modern day, kind of a modern day Revolutionary War with Americans and British.
All right, well, we gave it a try. I've had it for several years. I think I got this in 2018, I think it was, and I hadn't played it yet, so we were able to get this played, and I understand it better. Matter of fact, the rule book in this game is the worst rule book in the history of board games. This is terrible, and so as I was trying to figure it out, I ended up writing my own rule book and got in touch with the designer,
which I think gave him an unfair advantage because he knew what he was talking about the whole time.
Who helped me to make sure we got this rule book in a proper shape, and now there is a proper rule book for this game that is now posted on Board Game Geek, and people can now figure this out. So
I'm still clueless.
Well, even having written the rules, you have to play a game to figure out all those strategies. It's not like I knew this is how you win. There were things that did not become obvious until I'd already started playing. And anyway,
another thing is the
another thing,
the rifles. Like, you've got your rifle, you've got your, I don't know, all these different rifles, but they look so much alike that it's hard to tell what you just put down on the board.
Yeah. It takes some getting used to what those look like.
You have to spend 3 credit for these two, but these are 3.
Yeah,
I didn't even get to shoot those.
You have to buy these units at the beginning of the game, so they all cost 80, a different amount.
80 units.
Well, we went with 80 credits. You could go with different amounts, and there's a private first class version of the game where they dictate to you what units you're going to get for the most part, so you don't have to.
I think I was a private. It's just got his uniform.
All right.
Still in ROTC in high school.
Well, there you have it. Engage. I thought it was okay. I think that it's pretty deep strategically. I could play this many times.
And depending upon who you play against, about whether or not, you know, how deep to get.